Good morning, everyone. I'm extremely happy and honored to be with you. When Dr. Bhatia asked me to speak at the Congress about the future of work, I was first very honored, but also very surprised. I said, what a strange idea, me to speak about the future of the workplace, because I'm one of the oldest, if not the oldest HR person in the room. The second is I've been in India for 3 months, so I don't know anything about the country. Everything I says about HR in India is probably 50% wrong. My team says 80%, but I think it's 50. And the third is, I really don't know anything about the future of work. So why am I here? And then I thought, you know what? Nobody knows anything about the future of work. Nobody knows. That's one thing. The second thing is, as an HR professional for the last 40 years, I've been always constantly thinking about the future of work. That's my job. I've done that job over and over again, so why not today? And the third thing is, it's going to change anyways. So whatever I say today, may be right, may be wrong, but at least I can give it a try. So that's for the introduction. What it means, so if we look at the future as HR professionals, so I'm talking as an HR to HR, I think we need 3 or 4 things to look at. The first thing is we need to be open to the world. We need to be watching, listening carefully, constantly of what's happening around us, and today more than ever. The second thing is we need to be humble and know that we don't know. We don't have the truth about work. Nobody has it. The third thing is we need to be bold. The fact that I don't know doesn't prevent me to analyze and decide. And fourth, we need to be agile. So with that, I'd like to share with you my experience. 3 years ago, and we've all lived the same thing. 3 years ago, I was back in France, and from one Monday or a Sunday, I don't remember, we all got locked down. From one day to the other, I came back home from work, and the day after, locked down for an indefinite period of time. It happened to be, I think in France, was about 2.5 months. Incredible. Never happened in our history. And then a few days after, I had a call with my CHRO. We're very close. And we started to discuss and say, why don't we use this incredible event to transform ourselves and the way we work, and why don't we go full-blown remote? Why don't we use that to think about how we can change the way we work and embrace remote work to soon to be called hybrid? And there were different reasons for that. A, we needed to transform the company and some of its habits and culture. Second, we needed to make some savings, or big savings. So off I go on my own, and then I start to think, I gather a few people. So I'm in charge. I'm in charge of, put that in the company. At that time, the company was 180,000 people. So the question is, how do you transform the way these 180,000 people work? So we started to think about it, and very quickly we came to some conclusion. And if we work 50% of the time in the office, 50% of the time at home, if we put some guidelines, etc., we could maybe reduce our footprint by half. Very bold. And we started to write that and make some hypotheses, and we presented that to the board of directors and said, okay, what we propose is no more assigned offices, no desks, no assigned offices, only for the top 10, only. Second is 2-3 days at home, 2-3 days in the office. We'll see where it lands. And with that, we got their agreement, and we launched it. And we launched it at a global level. We wrote a 5-year plan, because it's, to change the footprint, the real estate takes 5 years. We're now 3 years down the line, and we're on it. We have 90% of our eligible population working on a hybrid mode. We have reduced, or are about to reduce, by 50% our footprint, in particular where it's very expensive. And we think we have managed to do it. Now, Is it going to be like that forever? I don't know. I don't know. Because already we've seen in the last year, some companies have said everybody needs to be back in the office. And we have that in our company. In our company, a number of leaders and senior leaders think everybody should be back in the office. But at the same time, employees are saying, no, 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 no. We want to work at home. And in some areas, they say 100%, 100%. We don't need to go back to the office. We don't want to go back to the office. And third, we have sold 50% of the of the offices, so we can go back. But what I'm saying is, it's changed. So again, humble, we didn't know where we were going. Bold, we made a decision, say, let's go for that. And now we'll see how, it's going to change. So that's the first thing. So the first thing is obviously impacting all of us is what is called hybrid. And hybrid, I'll come back to that. The second thing, the second big factor, and I'm sure we all understand that, is technology. Technology is impacting us and is impacting the workplace in multiple ways. I'd say for the best and for the worst. For the best, because it gives us incredible tools to communicate together. I mean, I spend half of my, and like everybody, or I guess, on my time on Teams, in front of my computer from anywhere. I can do it. It's very flexible. It works. The technology is really helping us, and it's a great asset. At the same time, it's a big threat. We are constantly under attack, cybersecurity. We every day we are watching, what's happening, and with that comes very, very big threat. Threat for the companies, as for us as individuals. The second thing that we're seeing with the technology is, all around the social media and the communication around that. And what we're seeing here is the boundaries are getting blurred between what's inside and what is outside of work. So in the past, you had internal communication, emails or posters and posting, and then you had external communication. Today, it doesn't exist anymore, because everything is on your cell phone. Everything is on. So what you say inside goes outside as a touch of a button, and vice versa. What you say outside in whatever circumstances comes inside company instantaneously. It's very different, and it allows us, in particular in HR, to think very thoroughly how we want to communicate and what we say. So that's the first thing. There is no more inside, outside. The second thing is, obviously, the boundary between private and work, life and work is blurred, and you don't know. Because you can do when you're at everybody knows that, but at work, you can with your cell phone or your PC you can do some of your private things. Conversely, when you're back home, you can continue to work constantly and until no time and answer emails and things like that. So it's a completely different paradigm. The work life is completely different from what it was, and it's not going to change, and we're not going to come back on that. So that's very important. So that's the first element. The second element, which I think is impacting us, is that for the first time, I guess in history, at least in the history of I'd say advanced economies, we have several generations and different generations working together. We still have a few baby boomers, I'm one of them, still at work. And then we have the Gen X. And then we have the millennials. And then we have the digital natives. And we are very different. Of course, we have some things in common. But our expectation from work, what we are bringing to work, the contract, basically, the contract we're making with a company, the contract we're making with each other is different for each other. And for us, as HR, it becomes very difficult. Because what you hear from one group is not necessarily applicable to the other. What you're doing for one group is not applicable to the others. That's one thing. The second thing is we don't know where this is going, because these generations are shorter and shorter. It's accelerating. You know, the baby boomers, like, it's like 30 years, or almost. It's 25 years. And then the Gen X, then the Gen Z, then the the digital natives, and I don't know what will be the next generation. We'll discuss that. But there is clearly an acceleration of what you could call the polarization of populations in HR. So and as you know, people will need to work longer, and it's not going to stop. It's going to be a real factor. So back to the how we work. A big question, and we hear it, and we face it constantly, is this question of, can we work from anywhere, anytime? So that's, you know, what is the workplace? That's the question. So we're talking about building the workplace, and the real question is, what is the workplace today, and what is it tomorrow? To that question, anywhere, anytime, there is obviously no answer. There is obviously no answer. What would work for someone or for some group will not work for some others. So the first question you need to ask you is, who is impacted? Who's eligible? Who are we talking about in terms of, you know, this new form of working from anywhere? When are we talking? You know, when are we talking about hybrid? When are we talking about some of, you know, traditional office-based work? So when do you want to do that? Why do you do that? So that's a very, very important question. Why do we need to come to the office? Why do we prefer to work from home? The why in this whole thing is extremely important. So what is important is, first, so when you look at that question, for today and for tomorrow, is asking you these questions. And then, based on what you hear from employees, what you hear from managers and leaders, you need to define some principles. Then you need to define some guidelines. Then you need to have a methodology to define how you will precise or detail the conditions of work. Because it's very important. So in principle, everybody agrees. In principle, everybody agrees. But in the detail, how does it work? And it's a constant, and you guys know that as well as I do, is a constant dialogue between, you know, keeping it simple, keeping it generic, and at the same time being specific enough to be fair, to be precise, and to be efficient as well. So very, very important. The conditions are important. The conditions we give to the people to work from home are important. Obviously, the financial conditions, do we give support or not? I mean, these are the things. Do we have the technology that is supporting that? Do we have the equipment that supports, well-being, working from home? And when we talk about working from the office, we need to look at, what is the best thing. One of the questions around that is to understand the pros and cons of this hybrid work model. The pros are quite obvious. It allows more flexibility, both for the employee and for the company, and that's very good. It helps with cost. As we said, its cost reduction is obvious if it's done well. It supports as well inclusiveness, because with an hybrid work model or a flexible model, you can accommodate different circumstances, different constraints that employees may have, and that's good for us. The challenge is obviously around communication, around interactions. When we started, back to my experience, when we started to think about it, I tried to look at the literature and the research, and we're back in 2020, early 20. I can tell you there was nothing interesting on remote, no real research, except one guy called Nick Bloom. You may know him, he's from Stanford. And he published an interesting study done in China. By now, if you go to LinkedIn or anything, Nick Bloom has made a business of hybrid. It has become his full-time job. And at that time, what he was saying, or what they discovered is, remote work or hybrid work is good for productivity. It's good. It's not impacting communication. It's not impacting relationship in reality. What it is impacting is serendipity. You cannot, serendipity is this, things that are happening by coincidence, not unexpected. So it's very simple. When it's a planned, defined activity, remote is as good as or better, no question. But when it comes to innovation, creativity, when it comes to unexpected, unplanned, it doesn't work by definition. So what I keep saying to my teams is, I come to the office to chat. I come to the office to have coffee. I don't come to the office to work on a specific thing. I don't come to the office to do teams. I don't even come to the office to have meetings with my team. And because everybody says, no, we have to have a team meeting, it's more efficient. You know what? I don't touch people. No, I always say that. My team is 100% female. I don't touch them. I talk to them, and I can talk to them almost as efficiently if I'm very focused on teams as I can do in the room. And we've all learned, we've all learned how to do that and do that efficiently. So the whole question is around serendipity. And for that, you need to think about, again, the equipment and everything, and you need to think about the office. So again, I'm going to share with you some research we've done, not groundbreaking, but what we said was, we need to design our workspace, our offices, based on the activity or the purpose. So the idea is, you don't come to the office and just sit there like we did before. You come to the office with a purpose in mind. And so we divided, or we are rebuilding all our offices with 4 different areas. One area is called, I don't know, in English, I don't know if the word works well, it's conviviality, socializing. It's the coffee machine. It's where people meet and formally can sit to chat, small talk, or even work, but in a very informal and almost in an open environment, again, where you encourage meetings and unexpected encounters. That's the first thing. The second is a space called communication. Communication means small meeting rooms where, one-on-one or 1 to 2-on-1 meetings, calls, etc. So not in the open space. So to really communicate in a small group. The third category is what we call collaboration. So big space like that to have, big teams, tribes. If you're in an agile environment, tribes or big meetings where you can have everybody together collaborating in a different way. And finally, concentration. Concentration is a space where you can go sit, no phone, no chat, you can concentrate. So again, we're trying to educate everybody and make sure that people understand, to get the best from that. So that's for the workspace. In terms of the rest of the things we need to focus on to build the best workspace and a workplace for the future, first is to focus on flexibility. I'm a firm believer in flexibility. As we've discussed, the hybrid has some pluses and minuses, some shortcomings, but at the end of the day, it is a really good system. It's a good, in my view, again, it's a good compromise, and we need to learn how to continue to make it better, develop it. So flexibility is clearly one big expectation from employees. And again, an hybrid model, I think, can give us the best of both worlds and can accommodate the needs of the various generations, the various groups, etc. The second thing is we need to give to our employees a sense of purpose. In particular, the younger generation doesn't come to work just for work. When I started to work, I just wanted to work. Seriously, when I was young, and I came to work because I had to come to work. And I had to come to work to do a living, but I didn't care about, at that time, or I didn't ask myself the question, and not that we were stupid. We're not more stupid than the younger guys. It's not the question. It's not a question of IQ. It's a question of the environment is different. So today, with the flow of information, the overflow of information, obviously everybody wants to understand what's going on. And everybody needs to make sense of what we hear from the outside on the media, etc., and to reflect that and to bring that back in at work. So again, the sense of purpose, to give a sense of why it makes sense for us to work together, why it makes sense for employee to come to work is very important. Not easy, but very important. The third thing is obviously well-being. It's critical. I mean, we've seen, well-being physically and mentally. I mean, we had a demonstration this morning that mental health is critical. And I'd say it's a real responsibility of us, of the companies. If we are not careful, we'll lose money. Simple as that. So I don't see that as a nice to have or I want to be a nice guy. It's a business need. The well-being of employees is a business critical, is a mission critical target for us. Absolutely. The other thing is, in particular in this hybrid or in this new world of work, inclusiveness is critical. Hybrid can help us, as I said, because we can accommodate different needs, etc. But it's a challenge as well. It's a challenge as well. It's a different way of working. So we need to work very hard on making sure that all our managers and leaders understand the need to be more inclusive. So as an example, in our company, we're now coming from hybrid and directly coming from the needs that were created from hybrid, working on new ways of management. So we are kind of re-educating, if I may use the term, our managers. We come from a old traditional engineering kind of command control. I need to be on your back every day to understanding everything I said before. So it requires it's heavy lift. So it's one of my job is to again translate what we are seeing, observing and living in this new world into what it means for for our managers, and then how we can help our managers supporting their teams. That's very important. The last thing we need to absolutely focus on, and it's a real need in particular from the new generations, is they want purpose, and they want also to grow. They want to learn, and they want to have opportunities to grow in this new world of work. So I'll end up with a big question for us. We hear constantly about the buzz, the big resignation that was last year. The big termination came just at the same time. And then we had quiet quitting, so people are, and now we have quiet hiring. Don't ask me what it is, because it's a new buzzword. I've read that, but I have no clue what it is. In my mind, it makes no sense. So the real big question for us is, the big question is, are we in a world where there will be a shortage of resources? Do we have, and in some cases we say we are going to be short of resources. We see that in IT, etc. But at the same time, you see emerging technologies, AI, and you wonder whether in 2, 3, 5 years from now, there will not be an excess of resources, because a number of activities, potentially a huge amount of our current activities, are going to be done by AI. So I leave you with this big question mark. For me, this is the real big question mark in the future of work. The future is here. Thank you.